What up, everybody? Thanks for checking into the Bravo podcast. For those who don't know, my name is Jackson, and this is a quick hot take of mine on the Demarcus Cousins trade. For those of you who don't know, and again, unless you've been living under a rock or something, Demarcus Cousins was traded last night, shortly after the All-Star game, to the New Orleans Pelicans for a meager haul of Buddy Hield, Langston Galloway, Tyreek Evans, and I believe a first and a second round pick in the future. I mean, what can you say? What can you say that's already not been said? I know I'm a little late on the breaking news part of it, but there's a whole bunch of stuff out there already if you want to check it out. About the ins and outs and all that stuff like that. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here for my quick hot take, especially considering that Boogie Cousins is one of my favorite players. If you've been following the pod from the beginning, then you already know that. Immediately, the first thing I thought was good for Boogie that he's finally out of Sacramento. I mean, everyone knows his history there. And again, like I said, everyone knows how he acts, how he's acted over the last, I believe he's been pro for 7 years now. How about the technicals and he's a hothead and this and that and this and that. People say this and that. And, he deserves every bit of that criticism, 100%. You control who you are, you control your actions all the time. But I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Imagine the situation imagine you're at a job as dysfunctional and as incompetent and as inept as the Kings have been over the last, before he even got there, the whole time you're there, and you're someone as talented as Boogie and someone who wants to win as much as Boogie, and it's got to be frustrating. And I said, he deserves every bit of criticism he gets for all his actions, but at the same time, you got to look at it that way. He's been through he's been through a number of head coaches, a number of GMs, two different ownerships. The owner he has now is borderline crazy. And I'll get to the King stuff later, but I'm just happy for Boogie that he's out of that situation. I mean, he's not going to anything much better in New Orleans, but at least he's going to be playing with Anthony freaking Davis. Like, on paper, that looks so scary for the rest of the league. I mean, just AD and Demarcus next to each other, like, that's if it goes as well as it looks on paper, they could be up there with Tim Duncan and David Robinson and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson and guy like dynamic twin tower quote unquote duos in the front court. And like I said, it's scary. I mean, there's a whole lot of other, factors that you also have to take into account, like the fact that, they don't have a lot of, other than those two, that's about all they have on the team. Jrue Holiday's good. Not great, but he's good. But at the same time, still, Alvin Gentry is still your coach. So, who knows what's going forward with that. Like I said, it's on paper, this looks like it should be just an absolute dominating front court. I mean, both guys are averaging more than 25 points and 10 rebounds a game. Both guys are just, whether they have the ball or not, they're those guys that you have to be paying attention to at all times. And the fact that they're both together now, I mean, like I said, just look out. Now, there's a lot of people out there going to say, Boogie is not as good as AD on defense. And yeah, sure, then maybe they'll try to attack him more, but, AD can help, hide and to an extent some of Boogie's deficiencies. And also, they're saying, well, they're both, offensive-minded big men. They're going to take touches away from each other. And, I don't know if Alvin Gentry isn't willing to do it, but a good coach can come in there and figure out how to use these guys and set them up for success and to be able to work off each other and stuff like that. So, they'll be able to work that out. That's, like I said, that's a good problem to have. When you got the two most dominant big men in the game right now, and two of the 15 most talented players in the league right now on the same team. I mean, like I said, those were good problems to have. So, like I said, I'm happy for Boogie that he's out of Sacramento and a fresh new start. But you know, with a trade like this opens up a lot. Like me, the guy like me, I just think I think about all the different things that could happen off this. I just ask a bunch of questions like, will it work? And I already went over some of them, but some other ones are, what does this mean for the future of Anthony Davis? I mean, he signed the deal. As everyone knows, he signed that big deal, I believe last year before this season. So he's got 4 years. People are saying, there's a lot of hearsay about he might go to the Lakers and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And like I said, that's all just, whatever to me until, some substance of it comes around, Because a team like the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bulls, and those guys, like they're always going to be, so-and-so's going to go there now. Like top insert X top free agent, insert to X, big market team, whatever. So I don't really pay any mind to that kind of stuff until, I start to hear more credible sources or more credible information about it. But it does, like I said, bring up the question is this something that they want to build around these two together? Or does this mean that maybe AD's on his way out? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What does this mean for the future of the Pelicans in general? Like, I'm assuming at this point everyone except Boogie and AD are expendable. So who knows what that would bring in? Like whether, they just traded 3 shooting guards, so I don't know who else is left on that roster. Like I said, this is just off top. I don't know who else is left on that roster other than Drew Holiday. But I'm sure, I'm sure a bunch of everyone else on the roster is expendable to try to help build around that, which opens up something I saw on Twitter. Shout out to you, whoever said it. I can't remember who it was, but it might be Larry B. Nice. I'm not 100% sure, but this opens up the possibility for the Kentucky super team. Boogie and AD are on the team now. Terrence Jones is there, but he's a minor player in this situation. Sorry, Terrence Jones, I like you, but you're a minor player in this situation. And he's asked to be traded. He might be on his way out. Who knows? From my understanding, John Wall and Eric Bledsoe are free agents next year at the end of the season. Again, there's not a whole lot of guards. They're pretty good guards, if you ask me. John Wall and Eric Bledsoe, pretty damn good guards. Who else? Who knows what other guys are out there from Kentucky, that they can get. Maybe Brandon Knight too. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and on top of that, like I was saying about Alvin Gentry not being the greatest coach. Coach Cal is, I don't know if you saw his tirade, his blow up about potentially being fired midway through the season, after I believe a loss over the weekend. Check that out. But apparently things aren't great for Coach Cal in Kentucky right now. So don't be. I'm just saying. That's all I'm doing. I'm just saying. Don't be surprised if you start hearing a little bit of this and that about a potential Kentucky super team, and don't tell me you wouldn't want to see that. Do not tell me, because if you are, you're a damn liar, all right? And you're a liar. I mean, just think about if they could just create a little Kentucky South down there in New Orleans. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Just think about that for a minute. The Kentucky super team, I've heard a little sprinkles, little dabbles of it out there. So be looking on, be looking out for that kind of stuff. And then also, like, at the same time, there's two sides to all this. I'm happy for Boogie, and finally he's out of the situation in Sacramento. I hope for nothing but the best for him. Usually anytime someone's got, attitude problems or anything like that, usually the change of scenery is the best thing for them. So I hope that he can turn it around and, shoot, I would want to play with AD if I was him. So, like I said, hopefully things can turn around with that. And on the other side of it, I mean, you can't help but just feel bad for Kings fans. I mean, other than, except for all the people who are, trying to talk shit and say shit like, oh, it was fine, we're good without Boogie, like whoever their little commentator guy is, he's out here saying, oh yeah, Boogie never did anything for us anyway, we had all these losing seasons with him. I mean, I get it, he's a homer for the Kings, and you got to do what's best, you got to, save face and ride for your team and all, but if you really believe that Boogie's the reason you weren't winning, when, these are just some examples, when you took Nick Stauskas over Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson, when you wouldn't pay Isaiah Thomas, I think it's like an extra $5 million, something like that, when you trade Nick Stauskas, and like 3 picks and another player for Rajon Rondo, who was there for a grand total of, I don't know, less than a year. When you bring in George Karl out of retirement when he had no intention or no signs of coming back. When you bring in Vivek, who really contemplated playing a style of defense where you went 4-on-5 in the half court with a cherry picker. That was his philosophy. And his reason and logic behind why he thought it would work is because his daughter's middle school team won the championship doing it like that. And I mean, I should just stop there, I should have just led with that and stopped with that. But just, there's more. When your star player, Boogie at the time, when they were winning with Mike Malone, and then your star player gets sick with meningitis, a very, very, serious illness, and misses I think he missed like 2 weeks. And Mike Malone was Boogie's favorite coach that he's played for since he'd been a pro. But because Mike Malone wanted to actually play smart basketball, and Vivek was wanted to do other weird shit, they butted heads, and you fire that coach who had your team at a winning season. When you bring in, guys with not a whole lot of front office experience like Vlade and guys before him, and then you can them after 2 years. I mean, the list goes on and on for how dysfunctional the Sacramento Kings are and have been. Like I said, not just with Boogie, but before Boogie too. I mean, ever since the early 2000s when they had, Jay Will, Mike Bibby, C Webb, Peja, and Vlade. I think it's Anthony Irwin. Shout out to Anthony Irwin. I mean, he made a good point. He's like, it's gotta hurt that Vlade hasn't been able to do stuff or hasn't, been able to help the Kings. As a fan, it's gotta hurt when a guy like Vlade, who's done so much for your team, who means so much to your team as a fan, is out here doing stuff like this and not being able to help it out. It's gotta hurt. I mean, I just said I feel bad for Kings fans. I mean, it's gonna be a lot worse. For those fans who say this is the first step in becoming a winning team. I mean, seriously, like, you really, really, really gotta take a look in the mirror and really, really reevaluate what you just said. Because I mean, it's gonna be rough. Look for the King. I mean, the Kings they're definitely saying, fuck it, we're gonna tank. I mean, they're the jealous boyfriend. At the time when things go bad for them, they know they're on the shit end of the stick, and they're just trying to play it tough. But deep down, they know, like, fuck, I'm just all bark no bite, because I did get the shit end of the stick on this deal. Because it's gonna be a pretty rude awakening, and a pretty rough I don't know how long. The next couple years are gonna be pretty rough. That's for damn sure. And I just don't know where they go from here. I really don't. I mean, what free agent is going to willingly sign what top free agent is going to want to willingly go to such a cancerous and such a hazardous environment like Sacramento? I mean, you're gonna get a bunch of guys, a bunch of veterans who are gonna want to, just cash checks and do stuff like that. But other than that, I really don't know. This isn't about the Kings. I didn't want to do this about the Kings, but at the same time, you just have to acknowledge it, how dysfunctional this is, and how all the fans out there who are slandering Boogie, it'll come back to bite you in the ass. Trust me. A lot of tweets will be deleted. Trust me. And so, like I said, that's all I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of questions that are still yet to be answered with this situation. It's definitely not over yet. And also, first Woj bomb of 2017 took a little while, a little bit longer than people thought, considering it's Woj. I mean, hey man, it's Woj out here, but the trade deadline always creates, great things like this. And first Woj bomb of 2017 was definitely a damn good one. And look for more. We still got a few more days of the free agency, or excuse me, of the trade deadline. So there's a lot of key names out there: Melo, Butler, Lou Will here in LA. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and that could possibly happen. So stay tuned to that. Check out Woj, check out Mark Stein, check out all the other great NBA beat guys. That are out here dropping bombs, dropping news and stuff. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, that was it. Like I said, I'm happy for Boogie. I mean, gonna have to definitely get a Boogie New Orleans jersey now. But hey, even maybe Boogie Sacramento jerseys will be on sale now. Maybe they'll be on sale for a really low price, and I can get my hands on one of those finally. But yeah, like always, if you like what you heard, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And how do you feel about the Boogie trade? I mean, I know how I feel. You know how I feel. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in how I feel. But if you feel differently, let me know. Let's talk it out. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and all of you who are down below in the ats. I'm always on there. And yeah, it's definitely a dawning of a new era in the NBA. And New Orleans is definitely be a team to look out for. I mean, they're probably not going to make a whole lot of noise, but like I said, a lot of good stuff to check out going forward. This is definitely not the last thing I'll be doing with this, talking about the trade deadline and about the NBA. So stay tuned for a lot more on that. And again, thank you for supporting. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, wherever you're watching, thanks for listening, however you're listening. And like I said, thanks for showing love. Make sure you spread the love too. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.